G'day guys, I'm AJ and welcome to Everything Animal. Today I'm going to tell you a story about Piccolo. You may have seen her in my other videos like the rabbit and guinea pig Easter egg hunts. She's a little brown rabbit, she's still a teenager. And this is a story that is crazy. So I'm going to start at the very beginning with Piccolo's story, just to give you some context on who she is and who she is with me and my relationship with her. So Piccolo was she's a little Neverland dwarf, dark brown rabbit. And on Christmas, my dad gave it to me as an early Christmas present on a Friday. But my dad didn't discuss it with Mum at all, didn't mention it to her at all. And Mum and Dad live in different houses. So when I bring home this rabbit, Mum's like, we can't keep her, we're not ready for another rabbit, you have to give her away, or something. So we're still working that out on the Sunday, and I went to church on Sunday, and immediately, one of my little friends, 10 years old, I won't say her name in here, she's immediately just like, oh, well, if I wanna, and I'm like, well, you have to ask your mum, and immediately her mum said no, but by the end of the service, as her mum thought about it, by the end of the service, the mum's like, yeah, yes. So that she just kind of decided that in 1 hour from that they wanted this rabbit, and you know, the family discussed it and talked about it and thought about what they're gonna do, and then they brought it home after about a week. So, well, I still really loved her, and I still really wanted her to be my rabbit, and she still, you know, met my other rabbit, Honey, and they'd become good friends, and I'd already, you know, I picked the name Piccolo and everything, so the deal was I'd get to look after her in the holidays when they were away, and, you know, that way she could be friends with Honey, and she could still kind of feel a little bit like my rabbit as well. And so I thought of her as our rabbit, both mine and the family at church's rabbit. She was known as the little girl's rabbit, but everyone in that family grew a relationship with Piccolo. And Honey stayed friends with her. I mean, we saw the rabbit basically every Sunday and starting her seeing every Thursday. So yeah, I had a really strong relationship with Piccolo, and since she would come over on holidays, me and Honey would love her, and you know, I started trying to do the training so that she could become a support animal like Honey is, but she's not really talented in that way. She's quite a crazy little rabbit. I mean, she's a Neverland dwarf. The smaller they are, the more active they are, it seems to me. And that might just be my experiences, but that seems to be the case with most rabbits. So now the family has had her for about 3 months, and so she's 6 months old, just became a teenager, and it's the second holidays of the year, so it's just after Easter, Easter holidays, and I'm looking after her again with Honey, and I go to my dad's house, who also has 2 rabbits. One of them does not get along with Piccolo, but that was okay. We just separated them and it was all fine, and they were having fun, and I went and took them to the park to have a bit of a run around with the harnesses on, of course. And I saw this big oval place, and there was a sign there that said dogs on a leash in this area, so I'm like, great. I put them down and to get out my harnesses, but and I'm keeping an eye on them, but the dog runs over and Piccolo just bolts. I thought that I had my hands near her, but Piccolo is terrified of dogs. This dog wasn't on a lead, so of course she bolts. The dog wasn't going to hurt her, but the dog follows and chases her around, and she just gets more and more terrified. I try to help and, try to catch her. Honey just kind of just watches. She doesn't really know what to do. I know that Honey, I know that it's fine kind of just to leave Honey as she is. She knows what to do with dogs. She knows not to run away from me and stuff like that. So, especially at this point. So, I wasn't worried about Honey. I was just trying to catch Piccolo. And then even when the owners were able to grab the dog, put it on a lead, and said sorry and walked away, and we thought that now, because I knew where Piccolo was, that I was just going to be able to calm her down, pick her up, and calm her down and stuff. So I checked on Honey, worked out where Piccolo was, and tried to slowly go towards her, but she just kept running away. And then I would bring Honey over there and try and get Honey to approach her so that she would calm down with Honey and see that Honey was okay, and then therefore understand that everything else was okay. But she just wasn't getting it. She was just too triggered. And then I thought that I'd got her up in a corner. Her back was against a cage thing. I'll show you a picture. And then I was about to catch her, and then she just suddenly popped her body through the cage thing and disappeared under this tarp. And I'm just like, okay, I can't get in there, but that would be a place that she would stay hiding in there. So, keeping an eye on it, seeing if she runs out, I go and get Honey and actually put her on a lead near me. Because people were seeing what was happening and was like, is your other rabbit okay? Like, do you want me to get you for her? I don't think people understood that I was trying to catch a different rabbit because, she's so small. She just looks like a little rat. And you could hardly see her. And I wasn't panicked at this point. I just thought, okay, I'll just wait until she comes out. I'll get Honey. And I relaxed for a bit. And then after a while, it's like, I'm not hearing anything. Like, she had a little bell collar attached to her. And we were sitting there, me and Honey. Honey was on a lead. And I was just sitting close to the thing, and we just weren't hearing any bells from it. She wasn't coming out. And so I called my dad, and Dad worked out how to open this cage and got the stuff out, and she wasn't in there. And then we spent an hour and a half looking for her, and there was just no sign of her all of a sudden. And I felt horrible. So I got home and put it on Facebook. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just kind of hoping that her owners would notice and that she would be found before I needed to tell the owners and it was all going to be okay. But I was stupid. I should have just gone all out, told the owners straight away. But they saw it on Facebook. They called me the moment they saw it, and they're like, all right, we'll head over there because we feel bad just doing nothing. The little girl who actually owns her didn't know on this day, and so they came out in the middle of the night. I knew that there was no chance that we were going to find her in the middle of the night. Not in the middle of the night. It was like 6 o'clock, but it was dark. I knew that there was no chance that we were going to find her. It wasn't 6 o'clock. It was like 8 o'clock. I knew that there was no chance that we were going to find her because night is when all the predators come out. Piccolo would know that by instinct, so she would hide. she would be sleeping or hiding. There was no chance we were going to find her at this time of night. Well, I guess there was a teeny tiny chance, but I didn't expect to find her, and we didn't, even though we looked for a long time, but it was still very exhausting. The main point of looking at them was just so that the owners could say that they didn't just sit there and do nothing as they knew about when they found out about this. But then early the next morning, we went out. Didn't see any signs of her. I really thought, I really prayed, we all prayed about it, because they're from church and everything. I really thought that I was going to find her that morning, but we didn't. I was so sure, because one time Honey had gone missing. I looked for her all that afternoon, hadn't found her, and then the next morning, the moment somebody came looking for her the next morning, there she was, just minding her own business, happy as could be. They just picked her up and brought her home. But nothing like that happened. We didn't hear any bells that morning, other than Honey's bell. They heard nothing. It was just horrible, no sign. And by then, the little girl owner found out as well. And me and Dad needed, on the Saturday, this was Thursday now. On the Saturday was my dad's birthday, and I had missed out on his lunch, so we really wanted to, and our plan was to go and have another birthday lunch so that I could have a birthday celebration with him. But at the same time, I didn't want to leave for this, leave and just let them look for the bunny on their own. But at the same time, I also, couldn't miss Dad's birthday again. So I went and did that. Dad got a piccolo at the, a piccolo coffee, at the lunch for good luck. And we were just really praying and hoping. And Dad had a really busy day, and I couldn't stay over at his house that night, so I couldn't even stay near the park where she was gone, and just felt horrible all of that day. Didn't have the energy to go back, and look for her, but I was just praying, and we were all sharing it on Facebook and making missing posters and telling our other church friends, and they were praying. And then the next day, after a day of a horrible sleep, and through all of this, Honey is just, you can tell that, when we got home that afternoon that she went missing, Honey stomped her feet at me. She's like, we shouldn't be home without Piccolo. And she was chewing on everything. And then the next day, after looking for her, Honey was just so depressed and so tired and sad. You could tell that she was just she wasn't really playing with anything. She wasn't happy. She was just sad or frustrated. She was either chewing or something or sleeping, in a ball. That's what it seemed like. I mean, obviously she was eating, which is good. She wasn't unhealthy, but yeah. So, that morning, me and Honey just kind of, so this is the third day after, 3 nights of her being missing. Me and Honey just depressed in bed. I was too anxious, too depressed, felt too bad to get out of bed and look for her again. So we just kind of prayed together, and me and Honey just kind of slept, and I felt horrible. I felt so anxious. I felt like I had, condemned this bunny, that I had ruined everything. Nothing I touch ever. Everything I touch, I felt like everything I touch just gets hurt. And I was crying out to God and saying, like, why would you put us through this pain? That sort of thing. I was, like, giving up on God at this point. Like, I wasn't actually going, I'm not a Christian anymore, but I was, like, doubting, you know? And just kept sleeping, waking up, being super depressed. And then, the mum of the family called, and I thought, oh no, they found a dead body, haven't they? Like, I saw on Facebook that she, a big python snake, and then, you know, they're not dangerous for humans, but they definitely eat something rat-sized, and Piccolo was just bigger than a rat, so, yeah, I thought for sure she was gone. But I answered the call, and the mum said, she was found, and I did this such happy squeal that mum just came running, saying, like, what's wrong? And I said, she's found, and my mum was just like, oh, my mum was so panicked. I gave her such a scare with the scream. I feel so sorry now thinking about it. But she thought that Honey had died or something. Like, she thought that everything was just going to keep getting worse, just like me. But, you know, there were happy screams. We were all doing happy little noises, and and we were so happy that Piccolo was found. And yeah, we found out that she was found by the first people that the actual owners knocked on doors. They knocked on doors and handed out missing posters. And the first door that they knocked on, those people worked at the park. Well, not like worked, but, you know, they did stuff like weeding there. So they said, we'll definitely keep a lookout, and our house is very close to it, so we'll keep stuff out to kind of lead her to it. And so when they were weeding and they saw her, they had to do quite a big chase to get her. Like, she did not want to be caught. She was still frightened. And she didn't know these people, so fair enough. And so they kind of just chased her towards their house and pinned her and finally caught her. They actually put her in a sack, which is kind of funny because they didn't really, you know, they didn't have anywhere else to put a rabbit. I mean, she's fine. I don't, and it's only because she's fine that it's funny. I definitely don't recommend putting a rabbit in a sack, but since she is fine, I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, and so the mum went and picked up her daughter, and they got the rabbit, they got Piccolo, and then they brought her home, and I thought, oh, you're coming home soon, and I felt way better after that. And I knew that Honey needed to see her so that Honey could understand what was happening. Honey wouldn't understand, like, even if I told her. Honey understands a lot of English, but I could tell that Honey knew that I was happy, or, like, shocked and excited. But that's all Honey could tell. So, yeah, and here's, yeah, and when Honey saw her, she was so happy. Like, the first thing Piccolo did is... So I'll show you this video now of Piccolo and Honey seeing each other for the first time after 3 days, and I'll talk you through what's happening here, what the body language means. So the first thing Piccolo does, as you can see, is go behind Honey, which is actually just her saying, please protect me, I feel safe with you, it's not what you think. And then they say hello. Piccolo is putting her head down, which is her trying to say sorry. Honey is just licking her and hugging her and nuzzling her. She also notices that there's a nice piece of grass behind her, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that's basically the rabbit version of a hug right there, which is adorable. Yeah, you can see Piccolo putting her head down again, trying to say sorry for, you know, running off. which is so cute. I've never got that on camera. You know, a rabbit trying to say sorry. And then she runs off because she's a bit upset that Honey won't let her say sorry. Honey is just eating grass. She didn't really... She thought that Piccolo was going to come back and it was fine. She's not like me, where she's not that emotional about it. And now her owner is giving her some food. So yeah, they were really happy to see each other. Yeah, and Honey wants some more food now. But it's just so touching to see rabbits meet each other after, you know, something like this, going through all of this. And yeah. And you can see this full video, like, without this voiceover, the original thing, on YouTube. It's just called Rabbits Uniting or something. After one girl missing. There we go. Ooh. That time Piccolo ran away because Honey surprised her. Can't see Piccolo and Honey. I can't tell you what their emotions mean. Okay, so they're sharing food, so they're happy. Yeah, they're going well together. Yeah, look at that. Piccolo's still a bit nervous, doesn't know what to think, doesn't want to do. Honey just like, I'm seeing you now, I'm happy. Honey's so happy. That was another rejection of... Piccolo just didn't try to say sorry, and Honey didn't do it, so that's why she walked away. And Piccolo also went away to clean herself. She's like, maybe I'm not presentable enough. Just trying to, you know... I mean, rabbits are grazers. They're always going to eat grass. She's so cute. I'm so glad that she's back. So glad that she's found.